All right, ladies and gentlemen, just to recap what we went over the last show, it was The Perfect City. That was the Leonardo da Vinci exhibit I talked to you guys about. Saving the world, all the benefits, and junk politics, all this shitty politics people are arguing about, our dysfunctional ways and how much they're costing us. And if paradise is what you want, paradise is what you have to build. So now our subject that I want to go over is ones, twos, and threes. That is something I wrote about in a book I wrote, and it pretty much, it's pretty fucked up, but it judges people and it labels them from 1 to 3. And the whole reason for that is just to get an idea of what we fall under and how to make things work. So to kick it off, number ones are kids. You know, they live under their parents' roof, their parents support them. They pretty much are dependent upon their parents. So number twos are the public, the general public. And the reason why I call them number twos is because they're just like kids too when it comes to the government being their parents. They're afraid of leaving their government. They're afraid of revolting. They're afraid of sticking up for themselves because they think, wow, without this government, I'd be left out on the streets and I'd have nothing to eat. I'd have nowhere to live, and I'd be just naked out on the streets. And that's a mentality a lot of people have that are really scared to, take the next step and be independent and get their things together. So number threes are the people keeping us down. Those are the government officials, the police officers, the presidents, the judges, everything that keeps us scared. Just like our parents used to tell us when we were young, if you don't like it, leave this house. And things like that just doesn't let us grow. So those are the three main categories: kids, adults that are kids, and the people keeping us there. And in order to break out of that, we need to understand that we are all number twos and that the number threes are keeping us down. There's a good story about this, about how they keep us down, and just what I've realized, not really from the news or anything. It's back in California around 2006, 2007, people were making a lot of money buying and selling houses. They'd buy their house one month and the next month it'd be worth $20,000 more. So they'd be making a lot of money from just buying a house and selling it right away. But what the government did was they turned around and slapped them with a capital gains tax to take some of their profit and keep them down. Another good example I know of is my uncle in Mexico. He used to import cars from the US to Mexico, and he would make about $1,000 profit, $1,500 of profit for each car that he'd sell. Well, what happened was the Mexican government found out that people were making money, and they slapped a tax on importing those cars. And guess how much that tax was? $1,000 to $1,500. So the profit was lost. And for things like that, they really want to keep us down. There's another example, or there's something else I wanted to tell you guys about, is this whole fact that they tax us. I think that is just fucking crazy to think that these motherfuckers print the money and then they want it back. Like if they couldn't just print a new batch and call it a fucking day. What's up with that shit? It's like what that's equivalent to is like starting a raffle, having a raffle, and all the tickets under your name. It's like, what's it about? And it's just clear with those examples that there's people literally wanting to keep us down. Which brings me to the next subject. And it's on the list. It's called Betheism. And that is something that we're not really taught anywhere, but it's basically, do you believe there's a devil? And it's not like, do you believe in the devil? I'm saying, do you believe there's a devil? And the answer to that is, there's got to be. There's got to be someone up above, high on the chain of command, just spitting out orders and moving us like chess pieces. It's hard to believe there isn't, because when we had George Bush as the president, Mexico had Peña Nieto, it was just so obvious that these guys were puppets, that they were just being manipulated to be like the smoke screen of someone more powerful. And that's what gets me thinking, who is that powerful guy? And that guy, I want to say, is the devil, which I refer to as Daddy, because I'm sure all these politicians and all these higher ups, the judges and everything, they all work together and they all work for him. He is like the puppet master and pulls the strings to all these people. Like, for example, like the war in Iraq that I was part of. That was some bullshit. That was just seriously someone moving our aircraft carrier like a chess piece. Like, bam, attack those motherfuckers and let's get it over with. And then no one really thinks about it like this. And I even put a picture to him I have a picture in my mind of who this guy is. I think he's like some 65-year-old rich guy who is just like the most powerful man in the world. And he's hiding behind the curtains. And people just cater to him. They just, everyone around the world. I mean, if you think about it, all the countries are under a fiat currency. Their money isn't worth anything, but yet here they are accepting this currency. The Federal Reserve, what is it? The Rothschilds that control the central banking. And it's just funny to me that no one sticks up to these guys, and no one really questions. Henry David Thoreau said, and I love this saying, I say it every time I think about it. He said, I'd like to know who didn't help build the pyramids. And I think about it and I'm like, wow, that was truly a wise man. Because think about it, everyone fucking lifting these huge ass bricks and piling them together. Well, that's kind of fucked up. And whoever didn't help build those pyramids was the wise man. Now, the same goes for whoever's not working for this devil guy, which we'll refer to as Daddy. Daddy is just barking orders and everyone is going for it. Fuck. The police brutality, the corruption, all the lies. It's just a bunch of bullshit. So we have no force against this guy. We have nothing. We're just sitting ducks. And we sit and we pray and we hope and we wish that we have something against him. But he's here alive in flesh and blood. And we're praying to some guy in the sky. Like, isn't that a little fucked up? Isn't that like the whole saying that we don't know if God made man or man made God? But that kind of clears it up for me, that this guy made God for us to be distracted like sitting ducks looking this way while he's behind our backs pulling off all this shitty stuff. So what I think is that that's what our focus has to be on. This motherfucker. That we have to know what we're up against. And just, I mean, we have nothing. We have nothing against that guy. We vote. Henry David Thoreau again said, even voting for the right is doing nothing for it. So, you know, we put all our power in a box, just like we do with all our hopes and wishes to God. And this guy is just free. I mean, this must be the easiest job in the world for him, running this world. Because no one questions him, no one knows about him, no one argues with him. He's just the most powerful guy. And we have nothing. Like, this guy hits a button to pull off all the nuclear bombs. We have nothing to stop him. We're arguing about fucking bullshit, about immigration or building a wall and bullshit like this. So that is one thing I want to put out. There is someone behind the curtains doing all this shit. He owns the printers of the money. He owns all the military, all the bombs, everything. And we are just without a clue about him. And we have no unity. We have no organization. We have nothing. And that's what I want to offer you guys with this series on YouTube. Something to get together under and be a part of. So when shit hits the fan, we at least have a plan B. So that's a bad part. That's a bad part. But I want to share with you guys a vision I had. Like, what was it? Like 5 years ago, I was laying in bed and I was like half asleep, half awake. And then all of a sudden I see this vision of like 1,000 people, not 1,000, like 10,000 people gathered around, like facing this way. I'll post a picture of it, of what I could find of a crowd, just so you get a feel for it. But they were all dressed in white, and it looked like they were at an airport, all facing an airport, and they were all like excited and ecstatic and just out of control, waiting for someone to show up at this airport. And that to me is what I call the first day of the perfect world. That is what I picture it as, like everyone coming together and finally celebrating together. Like everyone worldwide. It was just a beautiful vision that I had. I can't, like, these words don't do it justice, because it was just out of this world how beautiful it was. And I talked to my brother about this, and he says, Randy, you have to be the catalyst in that vision. You have to make that happen. So here I am, 5 years later, trying everything I can to get people to see these things and want a better world. So that covers the second part. Good luck, fuckers. I wish you guys the best. And stay tuned for part 3. Thank you.